My God is definitely not a bully.
My God is not a bully.
My God is not a bully.
My story begins with realizing that for me to reconcile who I was with my spiritual self would begin by understanding that the shame that I was carrying wasn't mine, and that I was carrying somebody else's fear. And when I was in college and dating a woman and a man, and one felt very, very comfortable and wonderful and exciting, and one felt foreign and unknown to me, I realized that I was attracted to women, and I knew right away that that was going to be a very, very hard road. And so I had to figure out how to manage that road. And so I chose to try to numb that all out, and I chose drugs. I was a serious drug addict for many, many years. 20, 25 years, I was very, very heavy into drugs. In the last couple of years, I found crystal meth to be my drug of choice. And one day I came out of my Sunday morning worship in my small town in Florida, was leaving church and getting in my car when the pastor walked out of the building and said, "Hey, I want you to go to this mission trip that we're going to be having this summer." And I realized, well, that'd be cool, but there's no way I can go. There's no way I can do that. I can't leave my drugs. That's what I treasured. That's how I got through my life. And going to church, hearing stories that I was a sinner, who I was not who I needed to be in God's eyes. And so I had to keep numbing that out. But God had another plan, and I ended up going on that mission trip. And the second day I was there, I was in the middle of an abandoned lot with my group, and we saw a young person who was clearly out of his head walking towards an abandoned car. Rummaging through that, he found a can of motor oil and started to drink it. And literally in that moment, I heard a very loud voice in my head saying, "This is why I brought you here. He's polluting himself and he doesn't know it. And you're polluting yourself and you know it. And you don't need to do that anymore." And I literally was changed. I never had any withdrawals. I never touched another drug. I didn't need to. But what I realized was I had to heal what I was trying to numb out. And part of that healing meant I had to leave that town. I had to leave my business, my home, my partner of 19 years, and I had to move. I had to find air to breathe. And once I made that choice to find air to breathe, God made a way. She made a way. My God made a way. And I found a faith community that supported me. I found a pastor in Greg Dell who told me a different story. And I began to heal, and I began to reconcile who I was. And I began to realize that the shame that I was carrying wasn't mine. It was the fear of other people, other interpretations of Bible passages that didn't mean anything to me, to the God that I knew. And I healed, I'm healing, and you can heal. My story can be your story. There's a happy ending. I'm living a great life. I have a great partner, and I'm very happy to share my story with you.